RCA was founded by Guglielmo Marconi.
Didn't he also found Google?
Pony.
No, that was that other guy.
Wow. There's a song lyric that's something something Marconi, but
From
when I tried to grasp it, it slipped right through my brain.
there's a Storybot song about it, I think.
Nope. Anyway, let's see. How long has this been going? Not a minute yet. Okay, we'll continue sitting here awkwardly saying random nonsense.
Random nonsense.
Random nonsense.
Somebody go up a key change.
I was really hoping that y'all would pick that up and run with it, but I forget y'all
Nonsense.
don't think that way.
No, that you're way too pitchy.
Dude,
Pretty sure I went up a key.
how many zeros in a Google? I mean, the way you spelled it, I don't know, but a Google is spelled Gogol, like that, which you'll see that in a minute. And a Google is 10 to the 100th, I want to say.
Yeah,
It's
like
100.
And then a Googleplex is raised 10 to that number,
Something like that.
I think. I'm pretty sure that's right.
I am the least mathy / sciencey person here, so this falls under at least one of those categories.
And don't even get me started on Graham's number, which we don't even know.
On what number?
Graham's number.
Sure we do. It has a definition and everything.
Yeah, we just don't know.
Has Graham just hasn't told anybody yet? Is this like a hey, how many fingers am I holding behind my back kind of thing?
They haven't finished calculating it yet.
Sort of like pi.
No, because pi, we know pi. We just it takes a while to list it out, but Graham's number is such a bizarre number. It's massive, and we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Is the context of Graham's number.
It's too large to represent at all in like a conventional way. You can represent it with a certain type of notation. It was developed as like the upper bound to an answer to another problem, and like even the person who developed it jokes that it's probably like the worst upper bound. It has to be the worst upper bound in mathematical history, just because it had to be so large. But it is an upper bound for the problem, so it's something.
And actually giving you context would just be more confusing. So we're just going to stop and go into the episode. Trust me on this. I did several like YouTube deep dives trying to actually understand it, and nope.
I'm gonna have to Google it now.
You'll be sorry. Hey, 14 with the 45-month resub. Holy crap. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Ow, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is not episode Graham's number. This is episode 645. Wait. Yeah, 45. 645 of the Mana Pool. And I can count, I assure you. Why? What have you heard? I'm Chewy, and this is me and the other dorks. You know what? Other dorks take over. My brain has forgotten how to function.
I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler and tangent master of this group, and the brain not functioning is not good. And I'm pretty sure you die, although I guess it depends on how long it forgets to work. I'm thinking, though, it's probably better than my lungs don't know how to work.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy. Everything seems to be working, though I suppose if something really important stopped working, I wouldn't really notice. In a way.
Is the beard growing still working?
I think.
Oh.
I think it looks different than it did a few days ago.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And my brain's working fine, although listening to the others' intros, I'm not quite certain where everybody else is.
I'm in my apartment.
I am at my house with a newly mowed lawn.
Weirdo. Okay.
Yep.
Hey, I'm gonna get some of this stuff out of the way at the beginning that I usually either forget or say at the end. But
Lifeguards?
we do what?
Lifeguards?
That too. But like we
Right.
do the show that you're listening to or watching on YouTube later. We do it live on twitch.tv/the mana pool, which chat just reminded me that I should plug. So you on Thursday nights, if we're gonna do a show, it's on Thursday nights. So you should totally come hang out and remind us of things in the chat.
Sometimes we need that.
Most of the time.
Shh.
And if you buy games on Humble Bundle, then I have a reference link you can use to buy stuff there. That helps directly. And of course, patreon.com/the mana pool to become a lifeguard. And hiccups. Don't forget the hiccups. And then you can subscribe or comment, preferably both, on youtube.com/the mana pool. And follow me on Twitter @the mana pool. And go to the Discord. All of these links you can find at themanapool.com, which is actually just a link tree. But it's got all of the appropriate links. Or they're down in the show notes /description/whatever of everything that I post everywhere. As far as, videos and podcasts go. Yeah, I think that's it. Also, if you're thinking of getting an Oculus Quest, I have a referral link for that. You should poke me and I'll give it to you. Because then we both get $30 of store credit, which is amazing to me. That's like the best referral program I've ever seen. But you have to do it before you make your Oculus account, which I didn't know, so I didn't get to use the referral link I was given, which is a bummer. So I'm letting you know now. And then Random KO threw 100 bits and says, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications. Thanks, buddy. Thank you for the bits. But okay. I think that's all of the stuff. I'm pretty sure. So, here on episode 645, what we are doing is taking our first look at the streets of New Capenna. Which I always forget the streets of part. Because in my brain, it's just New Capenna. Whoa, Nuka Penna. That's like a sort of pasta they serve in the Fallout universe, right?
I like it.
Maybe. I've never played Fallout. That's the one with, like, bomb shelters, right?
You know what? We'll just say yes and not go into detail.
Okay.
So, Streets of New Capenna is the next set that's coming, and apparently preview season has started already, even though it feels like Neon Dynasty just came out, but I guess it always feels like that, so...
I remember a couple weeks ago when they dropped a little bit, and I was like, dang, but now it's been like a month, so, okay. Interestingly enough, for the last several sets, I don't even know how many, they have released it on Arena, the new set on Arena first, before even the physical pre-release. And this time, they're actually switching it up, where the physical pre-release will be on the weekend starting on April 22nd. That's Friday. That's a couple Fridays, and then from now, and then the following week it'll come out on Arena. So hey,
Neat. If you play
yeah.
Arena. Which I don't. So, I guess we should start with mechanics as usual. What you think?
I think that would be a wise idea, sir.
All right. So, the first mechanic we have up. Oh, are these mechanics for each shard, I guess? Remember,
Yes.
this is a shard
It-
set.
It's basically a Lara, but not.
Yeah. Same
Yeah.
mechanic, or same mechanical idea, different flavor.
Yes. Instead of societies, crime families, which is, I have to admit, kind of interesting. I guess the only nitpicky thing I have for flavor is the whole plane can't just be crime, because you need people to, you know, put over. That's kind of how crime works. Trust me on this. I have a little experience, not that kind of experience, but anyway,
Brian loves
this
doing
is-
his crime.
Crime.
I have been
Crime.
around people that right. So my own, and I haven't started the story yet. I know the story has been released, but I imagine it'll be like Ravnica, where a lot of people are on guilds, but not everyone is in a guild. So, but it's an interesting parallel, because while the guilds all have functions, the crime families kind of have functions, but it's still crime. So not everybody can be Orzhov and Demir. You kind of need some Boros.
Sure. So anyway, let's get into these mechanics. The
Yes,
Obscura, which is what, Esper? Yeah.
is Esper. Yep.
Yeah. So the Obscura family is Connive. So Connive. Okay, if a creature you control is instructed, I haven't read Connive yet, apologies. If a creature you control is instructed to connive, here's what you do. First, draw a card and discard a card. Ooh. Okay. And if you discard a non-land card, you put a +1/+1 counter on the creature that connived. Interesting. So, the example we have is the Ledger Shredder. Wow, there are so many relevant political jokes I could make. But it's a 1/3 bird advisor for 1 and a blue. It's rare. And it has flying, because, bird. And it says, whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, Ledger Shredder connives. So, whenever the conniving happens, you draw a card, you loot once, and then if you discard a non-land card, it gets a +1/+1 counter. Bam. Nice and simple. Once you, wrap your brain around it, which it took me a second. But I'm also kind of dumb, so,
That's interesting that the Ledger Shredder doesn't give you a choice on whether to connive. It just happens whenever someone casts their second spell.
Right, which can be interesting if you're, milling a little bit. If you have no cards in your hand, you're just gonna mill one. So.
Yeah, it doesn't say may connive, does it?
And it's interesting. I appreciate Mike pointing that out, because it says whenever a player casts their second spell each turn. So it's not just on your turn, but your opponent may be like, "Hey, I'm gonna play at least 2 spells this turn. You're going to connive." Now they may or may not want to do that, because your shredder might get bigger. So a little bit feels a little bit almost like the werewolves, or Daybound Nightbound, from the latest Innistrad set. Except that is something that then triggers the beginning of the next turn. This could have an immediate impact on the board. Looks like he's gonna dine on paper soup tonight. No evidence, no crime. I mean, he's not entirely wrong.
Oh my god.
My statements tonight do not constitute any sort of legal advice or instruction, just so we're all clear. Okay?
Ooh.
So if you got evidence, don't shred it. That'd be bad. But here in the game, yeah.
This is the worst set for Brian. Brian's like,
Or the
okay.
best. It's just gonna be me having disclaimers all night long.
Yeah, I was about to say,
So
this is going to be. Okay, guys.
I mean, like, yeah, if there's no evidence, usually there's not. Yeah, yeah, it's not wrong. So anything else about connive? I feel like it's. I mean, the strategy on how to do it could be interesting, and obviously, what we're seeing here with this guy is it triggers when a player casts their second spell each turn. There may be all sorts of ways to trigger a connive. It may just be when this enters the battlefield, it connives.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I'm sure
Oh yeah,
there's at
this
least a
one's a
couple ways.
rare, which is weird.
yeah.
Usually they show us a very basic example at a common.
Well, this one was
Yeah,
featured
they often
in the
do.
video that they did today, so I think they picked some cards that have a little more pop.
Yeah, but this is the
To,
mechanics article. It doesn't matter what cards they
I know.
featured in the stream. Like,
Oh no, I don't disagree. I'm noticing that going down the line, these are all cards they used in the stream. So
hmm.
somebody, probably not a coincidence, somebody decided to do that on purpose. So, but yeah, we'll have to see some
Once
more.
again, the decisions made at Wizards of the Coast make little to no sense. But remember, this is not about each player casting their second spell each turn. That's just this card.
Yes.
The important bit here is what Connive itself does.
Yeah. You might, for example, I mean, this is in Esper colors, so you might have a black one that just says, "Hey, whenever a creature dies, whenever another creature dies, this creature connives." For example, we don't know. We'll have to see.
Let's not go into speculation, please. We're on literally the
Ah,
first card of the set.
okay. Okay. Well, then let's go to the next one.
All
Uh,
right.
the the Grixis colors are in this set the Maestros, and they are assassins. I believe that from watching the video, I think that most of the crime families have a signature creature type. It's not on every single creature in that family, but they tend to share. And the first one is birds. This one is mostly vampires, I think. And they're very like upscale, like aristocratic assassins. And their mechanic is casualty. And how casualty works is it will be followed by a number, and as you cast this spell, and this spell, from the way this is worded, will probably show up on almost entirely non creature spells. As you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater. When you do, copy this spell. So that's how casualty works. The rest of the card works exactly the same. So, for example, let's take this card, A Little Chat, and it's an instant for 1 and a blue. It's uncommon. And if we even ignore casualty, what does the card do? It says, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the other on the bottom of your library. So it's a very simple card selection slash draw. Uh, it also has casualty 1. So as you cast a little chat, you can also sacrifice a creature with power at least 1, and then you now get two copies basically. Well, I shouldn't say that. You have the original a little chat and then a copy of a little chat. So you get 2 cards. You can only ever sacrifice one creature for each instance of casualty. So, say a card has casualty 6 or whatever, well, you better have a pretty beefy guy to throw under the bus because you can't sacrifice a number of creatures to get up to 6.
Yeah, this isn't crew.
Right. It's not crew. It's not that Jund mechanic where offering or whatever it is where you sacrifice a whole bunch of stuff. This is you the crime boss goes to an underling and is like, "Jack, you are my number one guy. And then you send him to die. And you get a bonus.
I'm a number one. Okay.
Thank you. I knew you could do it better than me. So.
And the mechanic you were thinking of is Devour, Stark said. Thank you. I was
Thank
trying.
you.
I was like, I know it's not offering, but I can't remember what it's called.
We've been doing this a long time. They've used a lot of words. So, but I think this is interesting. Obviously the fact that
It's kind of
the
like
fact-
exploit for spells a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say you're almost entirely going to see this on non-creature spells, but they have said when you make a copy of a creature spell, it results in a token. That's something that they have codified, I think. So I think it's possible you could see this casualty on a creature spell, but that might get confusing.
I'd more expect that maybe to show up in one of the commander decks for this set versus the actual set.
Yeah. If they even go there at all.
Mm-hmm.
So again, speculation. I feel like by the very nature of copying, we've seen things like Storm. There has to be a certain power ceiling on this. If they print Time Warp with Casualty, it's going to have a really high casualty cost because yeah. So that is Casualty. Interesting you're throwing your own guys into the bus, but
Yeah, that is neat. I like that.
I feel like this next mechanic is a Chewie or Mike mechanic.
Oh, this is the one that I've seen. This is definitely a Chewie mechanic.
Okay?
Yeah, because the man at the back said everyone attack, and it turned into the keyword Blitz.
Nice.
Thank you. I came up with that in the Discord server earlier.
Well done. Okay?
Keyword Blitz. So, Blitz is the the Riveteers. Riveteers?
Yeah.
Riveteers. That's what they came up with, was Riveteers?
Well, I think it's like they're almost like the working class family. It's like Gangs of New York. They're the ones that are actually like the day laborers, like putting in the hard work. It's like the crime version of labor unions, maybe.
That makes sense. It's a dumb name, though.
So riveters, like rivets, putting rivets into things. So
Riveteers. I really think they could have done better than that. That's awful. So Jund is called Blitz, and Blitz is a creature ability. It's an alternate cost for creatures. So Jaxus the Troublemaker here for 3 in a red is a 2/3 that does some stuff. So you pay 4, you get a 2/3. But if you pay the Blitz cost, which is 1 in a red, then you cast it for the Blitz cost, 1 in a red. It gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. And you sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So it turns everything into ball lightning. With a card draw attached, which is the best kind of ball lightning.
It really is. I really like this mechanic.
This mechanic is the best. So what Jaxus the Troublemaker actually does is, for a red and tap and discard a card, you create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control. The token gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. And you sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step, but you can only activate this whole ability as a sorcery. So it's essentially pretend that you cast a creature that you played, that you already cast, with Blitz, because it gets the Blitz things, but it actually has nothing to do with Blitz the mechanic. Which is why I'm really tripped out that they showed this instead of a common. Because the first time I read this, I read the card text first, and then I read what Blitz did, and then my brain came to a screeching halt, and I heard the sound of glass shattering. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin came up and gave me a stunner while drinking a beer.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. And then after I picked myself up off the ground, I was like, wait, and I read it again, and I went, oh, they're not related. Okay, got it. But yeah, creatures with Blitz will. I mean, this Blitz cost is cheaper, but that's not necessarily the case for all of them. And yeah, will. It just means it has haste and a card draw when it dies, and it has to die at the beginning of the next end step. Jaxus, though, is really cool because for 3 mana and discard a card, you can get another copy of anything that you currently control,
Mm-hmm.
which is a pretty good deal, I gotta say. Plus, you'll get 2 card draws out of the deal.
Yeah.
Damn! One for blitzing Jaxus, and then one for the ability. Assuming you use the ability when you blitz Jaxus. I don't think a 2/3 in terribly many circumstances is going to be worth blitzing unless it's for lethal.
Yeah, no.
Or if you just need to run a creature out and everything.
Yeah. Jaxus is also the buy box promo, which you can see right here. Right here. For those of you listening in the audio version, it's right here. Links are in the show notes. Right here.
I just like that Jaxus has the ability to do blitz and can kind of do it to any creature that it wants.
Yeah, it's a really neat little
That
thing.
Jaxus gives things blitz and has blitz itself. Though it doesn't give them the ability, just the mechanical part. Yes.
Functionally.
There you go.
I like the way Derek just repeated all the stuff I just said.
Yes.
That's what I'm here for.
That's true, yeah. We've
I'll make it look good.
We've established, I don't remember if that was during the recording or after I stopped the pre-show recording, that Derek does not pay attention to anything I do or say.
No. That's fine. It's just, as you're saying, I'm looking at it and going, what? And so as you're explaining it, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it.
He heard the glass shatter, and then Stone Cold came up and gave him a stunner.
He gave me a stunner too. My silence was picking myself up off the floor.
Dirk just illustrated what happened the first time I read Jackson's Troublemaker. Like, what? Oh, Lord. So, yeah, Blitz is really cool, very aggressive, but the card draw that you get as part of Blitz just makes it just a chef's kiss of a mechanic.
Yeah.
Like, if it didn't have that, it would be okay. Oh, this is super aggressive red. Okay, but with the card draw, it's like, oh.
Yeah. It makes me think of Dash, where if it survived, it went back to your hand, but if it died, you were just out the card. But this, you don't get a direct replacement for it, but you always get something.
Right. I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking
One
sick.
thing I kind of find interesting is, so Blitz and Connive both have card draw abilities. Now Connive is understandable because that's got blue, but Blitz has no blue in it.
Yeah. I think that's why it's only on creatures, because, green is always like creature based. It actually works for all 3 colors, because green is always like creature based card draw. Red is always like aggro replacement card draw type thing. And black is always, there's a cost for card draw, in which case, your cost is your
something
vote.
dies, draw a card.
Yeah. I like the way it actually works mechanically in all 3 colors without having to stretch hardly at all. Hello, Uncle Mana Burn in Oregon. Isn't it still yesterday in Oregon? I don't know how time zones work. But hello, welcome to the pool, to the chat, to the whatever.
From where we are. Yeah.
It is still yesterday.
Still,
That's what I
it's
thought.
still.
Okay,
Oh,
so let's do the
another
next
cool
one.
thing about one last cool
Oh.
thing about Jaxus. It's a cosplay that I would actually have the aptitude and resources to pull off.
Let's see. Pinstripe pants, a collared shirt with the shirt sleeves rolled up, some suspenders, and a thing on one wrist. I think you could pull that off, yeah. The beard might be a problem, but
Details.
not a
You might
problem
need
for cosplaying, but a problem for people recognizing you.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to get glowing red contact lenses?
Dude, please say yes.
I'd have to learn where to find them, but we'll see.
I know a guy who does a lot of work with cosplayers, and he's actually one of the people that's helping plan Cosplay America. What's his name? Squee?
Cool.
I'm,
Yeah, I should have figured that's who you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure if the such thing exists, he will know who to ask for where to get them. You already have pinstripe pants, don't you?
I'll have to
This is
check.
America.
I
Who
thought I
doesn't?
did.
I don't, unfortunately.
I still have a lot of work clothes, but I did give a lot of them away over the past year. But I still have a lot left.
All right, so let's do the next one. Alliance. Who wants
the dark
Alliance?
mechanic?
Do what?
You.
It's a
This is a dark. I was saying this is a dark mechanic, and he went,
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah. So, let's see if it's is the ability that highlights trigger ability. No, but all right. So whenever another, I guess, I don't know if it's always creatures.
Do you want me to summarize it for you? It's
always
just
another creature enters the battlefield under control, double whatever its power until
Oh
end
no,
of turn.
the double power part is what's special to this card.
Yeah, it is just, hey, when another creature enters the battlefield under your control, some effect on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creature fall.
Creature fall. Yeah. This.
I kind of hate that you said that, and I understood exactly what you meant.
This is the Cabaretti, and they are like Rakdos a little bit. They're all about entertainment, except less of the less of the more
less of the murdery kind.
Less of the murdery kind, which is funny because crime. More of like if Barnum and Bailey's was run by crooks.
Oh, so like the Ringmaster from Marvel Comics. Was that Marvel? Yeah, that was Marvel.
What about that guy Arcade? They made that Spider-Man SNES game with Arcade.
Yeah, he's more about death traps than an actual carnival, though.
But I guess the difference here is the Rakdos have a little bit of like that really dark, like pain is pleasure kind of stuff, and here it seems to be more like actual like circus and stuff. There's probably a little bit of the darker stuff worked in there too, but it's not as like forbidden pleasure kind of thing. So here, the more people at your party, the better. Like this guy.
Yeah, Dirk, what's this guy do? You're so
the
smart.
Devilish Valet.
Yeah.
So for 2 and a red, he is a Devil Warrior that's rare. That's a 1/3 with Trample and Haste, and he has Alliance. And his is the one that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, double Devilish Valet's power until end of turn.
Ooh.
Yeah, if every single one was double this creature's power, that would be very that would be very aggro.
Yeah, and this is the Cabaretti, which is Naya and Hiccups. Excuse me.
Which makes sense. These colors are can be very much about creatures.
Yeah.
which was what? Yeah, you said it, Naya. So in Alara. So yeah, you want to play creatures. It also counts creature tokens. So
Yeah. But yeah,
yep,
alliance is an ability word rather than a keyword, which means they're all whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, and then whatever, something different after that.
Yeah.
Because ability words are just sort of a loose way to mechanically tie things together rather than like a keyword, which is a very set in stone, always works the same way type thing. Just to repeat things that we've said a million times, because you never know, there might be new people listening, and if so, hello, welcome. Never mind that we've got over 600 episodes. It's fine. Most of those are preview episodes probably at this point, because preview season
I mean,
never ends.
over time, yeah.
What? There's just another random creature here under the
It
Devilish Valet.
I think it's just to show off interaction with alliance and just standard enters the battlefield effects.
Yeah, it's talking about how things stack.
Yeah.
Those
Okay.
abilities can be put on the stack in any order, and the last one can be put on the stack will be the first one to resolve, so you can do the scry and then whatever else, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess it depends on the situation.
So Dirk, what's the cat do?
It's a Chrome Cat. Okay. For 3, it's a 3/2 artifact cat. And when Chrome Cat enters the battlefield, scry 1.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For limited, that's fine. That's on curve. 3 power for 3. That decent effect. Pretty nice art too.
Yeah, I do like the Chrome Cat art. It's a happy, angry kitty, which is most cats. So, oh, miss cats.
So now we come to the final and best family. I'm just gonna say it. Why? Because it's the law firm. It's less
Jesus.
Azorius and more like think of shows where you've watched where there's just like the evil law firm. Um, I've never seen Suits. Everybody's like, yeah, watch Suits, and that's the funny thing is, sometimes you don't want to take the job home with you. And you don't necessarily want to watch the show that's all about lawyers, but if lawyers happen to be in a show, that's fine. Um, Anybody that watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there was a spin-off after its third season about the character Angel. And in Angel, which takes place in LA, there is an evil law firm, the firm of Wolfram and Hart, that is, surprise, surprise, actually run by, like devils and demons and stuff. So that's kind of what we got here. Um, this is Bant Colors, which is usually like the good guys, but these guys may not be horrible, but they're the like, hey, we'll make life easier for our clients. We'll kind of grease the wheels of justice, kind of law firm, and their mechanic is protecting their clients. It is shield counters, and a shield counter, I think, of all of the mechanics we have seen, is the one that you should instantly get.
Especially
So
if you've played Hearthstone.
yeah, it's divine shield,
It
but
is
better.
literally Divine Shield.
But better because divine shield doesn't protect you from destruction, right?
Oh, that is true. It
So
is it is Divine Shield
yeah.
plus.
So while a permanent has a shield counter on it, if it would be dealt damage for creatures or planeswalkers, or destroyed for any kind of permanent, remove a shield counter from it instead. And notice it doesn't say remove all shield counters. So if it has more than one, each one is one you got to remove. However, it will be removed whether it's dealt 1 damage or 20 or hit with a destroy this creature effect. So, the example here is the Disciplined Duelist for a green, a white, and a blue. It is a uncommon human citizen. He is a 2/1 with double strike, and Disciplined Duelist enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it.
Yeah.
Super easy to understand, and honestly feels pretty strong. Like, would you pay 3, and I realize it's very color specific, for a 2/1 with double strike that essentially says
You gotta
this
kill me
doesn't die
twice.
you gotta kill me twice. Yeah.
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 So the way that for those of you that haven't played Hearthstone, the way that Divine Shield is represented is literally a bubble around your character, and then
Yeah.
you have to or around your creature. You have to pop the bubble before you can actually deal damage to the creature, and this is exactly the same way. You have to pop the bubble. So the shield counter is a bubble. So get little clear plastic things to put over your like ping pong balls that are cut in half except bigger, so you can just wrap a bubble around your creatures with shield counters. That actually sounds really cool. Can we make this happen?
And then, just as a follow up, they got 2 really quick follow up previews here. One of which is a reprint. It's Murder, which, if you've been playing for a little while, for 1 a black and a black, instant destroy target creature. They have it here for 2 reasons. First of all, to be like, hey, illustrate if you try to murder the Disciplined Duelist while it has a shield counter, your murder removes the counter, which may be a waste, but may also be like, oh, and now it takes 1 damage in combat and dies, or whatever. Second reason it's here is lore drop. Murder is a common. It's a common in this set, and the flavor text. Well, the picture shows some figure with giant wings behind a gargoyle, casting some sort of spell at somebody else, and that person's getting ready to fall off the building. But the flavor text says Ob Nixilis decided the fastest way to seize control of New Capenna would be to usurp the networks of power already hidden there. Xander's Maestros were the first to fall. So if you really are intrigued by the flavor of the Maestros, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. They're totally not going to get written off or anything. And then the other, I think, is new. I don't think we've seen Strangle.
No, this is new. Yeah.
All right. Super straightforward. Get this. For a single red, sorcery common, Strangle deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. So it's the sorcery speed. I guess reverse lava spike.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Sort of.
Yeah. There you go.
Because lava spike just hits players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This hits everything else.
This hits everything else. There you go. Still doesn't deal damage to a land. Someday.
Unless it's a creature.
Yep. So, but that is shield counters. And Mike hasn't gotten to talk about a mechanic yet. So, hey, Mike, there's a returning mechanic. And it's a complicated one, potentially. So,
it is a complicated one, and they also made changes to it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this yet.
You
really?
haven't seen this yet?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, but they finally they've expanded it a bit and cleaned out the stupid parts.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, before we get into that, there's a question in the chat. Minus X effects do sneak past shield counters because that's not direct damage or destroy effect.
Yeah. And in fact, they Exile sneaks past it.
Yep.
And in fact, they even notice here, if the damage says it can't be prevented, so any spell that says deal 3 damage, this damage can't be prevented, that also not only removes the counter, but it also deals damage to the target.
Yeah.
So,
which means the reminder text isn't really telling the whole story, but that's okay. The reminder text is just supposed to help you in 99% of the
Oh yeah.
cases that are going to happen. So,
Oh yeah. That
so there's some more
yeah.
detail in the full rules about this that explain exactly how it works.
Right.
Also, it says if it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter, not all shield counters.
Right.
So if you
That's why-
manage
That's what
to
Brian
get,
tried to say earlier, but it didn't come across
oh,
the way
okay,
he wanted it to.
yeah, if
I
if you
was trying
get
to say, so
multiples
if you,
on it, then you have to pop multiple bubbles, which I think is really cool.
I think I started to say that, but I thought I was getting ahead of myself. So should we be bringing it back around?
And
So
also, global effects like a Wrath of God will pop the bubble,
Yep.
which is really cool.
yeah, way to protect your creatures from wrath.
Yeah, as Stark said, according to magic, lawyers are protected from literal acts of God.
I'll allow it.
So okay, I think that answers the damage prevention thing is a nice thing to know, or the can't be prevented rather.
Yeah, that's an important detail.
Won't come up a whole lot, but
No.
I don't know. There's a lot of this damage can't be prevented. It's at least there was for a while.
didn't Gideon, like when Gideon would animate, didn't he have that? I feel like he did.
Oh no, when
He's
Gideon,
dead now.
yeah, when
Spoilers.
Gideon would animate, he would usually become indestructible, and you prevent all damage that would be dealt to him, or one of those. Maybe it was
Yeah,
just prevent all damage. I don't think both. Never mind. Anyway.
Anyway,
Okay. So this last new mechanic, or the other, you know what I mean?
the returning mechanic that
The
Mike's
returning
going to tell us
mechanic.
about.
It's Hideaway.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, so way back in Shadowmoor or Lorwyn? Did lands appear in
Shadowmoor.
Lorwyn? Okay, so both the lands and the creatures appeared in Shadowmoor block.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I think the
No,
lands were in
you're
Lorwyn
right.
and the creatures were in Shadowmoor, but I can't
You're
remember if it was
absolutely
in
That's what I thought.
the first. I don't remember if it was Lorwyn or Morningtide. Doesn't matter. Lorwyn block.
I think
Doesn't
it was
matter.
Lorwyn. Okay.
Yeah, so there was the creatures didn't have a hideaway. They were just associated with the lands that did. So there was a cycle of lands, one in each color, with hideaway. And at the time, hideaway meant this enters the battlefield tapped. When it does, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. And then the card would do something else later after you fulfilled a certain requirement that allowed you to cast the hidden away card. So they've taken Hideaway and changed it up a bit to broaden it a bit more and take out one of the stupid details that never mattered anyway. And I always wondered why it was there. So now Hideaway has a number that determines how many cards you look at. For example, they have this enchantment here, Wiretapping, for 4 and a blue. It's a rare enchantment that has Hideaway 5, which means you look at the top 5 cards of your library when you do the thing, when it enters the battlefield. They also took out the inherent this enters the battlefield tapped rider in Hideaway, which was always stupid and unnecessary. I guess they really needed to save that minuscule amount of space on the original Hideaway lands. I never understood that. So they don't have that baggage anymore. And the Hideaway lands are going to get errata to just have the centers of battlefield tapped. So now it's just a lot cleaner and you don't have that weird detail. So for wiretapping, Hideaway 5. When it enters the battlefield, you look at the top 5 cards of your library, exile one of them face down, and the rest go on the bottom of your library in a random order. So wiretapping says, whenever you draw your first card during each of your draw steps, draw a card. So you get another card.
Yeah, that means another card. It's not, as Stark pointed out in the chat, giving you permission.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, when you draw your first card, you go ahead and you draw that card, buddy. Thanks, wiretapping. I appreciate you.
I noticed that too. So yeah, I'm actually worthwhile to point that out. Yes.
So when you draw your first card during your draw step, you get another one. Then, if you have 9 or more cards in your hand, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost.
That's wow. That's really
It's cool. I like it.
Did old Hideaway go to the bottom of your library back in the day?
Yeah, the ones that you didn't use, yeah, they went on the bottom in a random order.
It's been so long since I've seen a Hideaway land that I honestly couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing they did the one time.
Apparently, there were some in Modern Horizons that I don't remember, according to 14 in the chat.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that in the chat, and then I was like, oh, they did, but I have no idea what they are. I don't remember.
Yeah. So for wiretapping, straight up, it's basically a private howling mine for you, regardless of the hideaway. And then you get the free card when basically you start your turn with at least 7 cards in your hand, and then you draw the 2 off of wiretapping, and it's like, oh, you've got 9 cards. So here's your free spell. The interesting thing with Hideaway, lands, unless there's a specific land destruction card, are fairly safe. With wiretapping, and I'm assuming other non-land Hideaway cards in the set, if you choose like a great awesome spell that you really want to have for free, and they're just like disenchant or heck bounce your wiretapping, you're running the risk of not getting that spell ever.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's just a risk you take.
It is. And that's why, like, this is nice. It has the upside of just always being a howling mine. Costs 5, but hey.
I mean, a personal howling mine should probably cost 5.
It should probably. Howling mine costs 2. Font of Mythos costs 4. So, I mean, like, without any other. Without any other.
2 for everyone. It's not for you.
Right. I know. I'm trying to find equivalent effects. So yeah, I mean, I would think
I'm seeing wins, man. Come on.
That's true, but that's legendary. I'm just saying a private howling mine with no other effects. I don't know if we've seen that, but this spending a lot of time on this cost is probably about right anyway. So yeah.
And it says
the hideaway is like it. Go ahead.
Oh, it says this is only on a cycle of cards and some reprints in the commander decks. So there's literally 5 cards, it looks like, that have Hideaway. Because it's not the sort of mechanic that can be a regular, thing, like shield counters or Blitz, because it's really bizarre and niche.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 5, maybe 6. It says a cycle. But who knows? That could be nonsense. There might be a multicolored one. You don't know. But at least 5, and that's it. But it's really cool. The fact that they've given it a number, I wonder, are they ever going to give Threshold a number? I guess if they ever decide to bring it back.
They test. I remember Mark Rosewater saying they tested that in design, and it was a massive pain in the neck to keep track of.
Yeah, you got to figure, especially if you can put on different numbers, then you're like always checking. You're
it's
like,
not
okay,
like an
wait.
on or off switch. Yeah.
Yeah. Ironically, on Arena, it's less of a hassle because the game will do it for you. But in real life, it's going to be like, oh, wait, especially in multiplayer, somebody's just going to be like, oh, by the way, my threshold creature has gotten +10/+10 for the last 3 turns. And everybody's like, why? And they're like, oh, well, because I hit the number like 2 turns ago. Didn't you notice?
Yeah.
So. And that's not even that person being a jerk. That's just having a lot of stuff to keep track of.
I'm pretty
So.
sure that means that one day, when they decide to use Threshold again, it will have a number because Arena does it for you. And so many things that they've designed lately are a pain in the ass in paper and perfectly fine digitally. So it would not surprise me if Threshold eventually gets a number, despite what Mike said. Just because of how Magic designed. Do what?
It'll be in spite of Mike.
Yeah, specifically Mike.
I could honestly see them bringing back Threshold, at least in like a Commander product or something, even if they don't make it standard legal again. Speculation.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the mechanics article. Now, the video showed us numerous other cards, plus there are other cards in the card image gallery, including ones that weren't even featured in the video.
Well, yeah, because previews have been trickling out for like 2 weeks now or something. Here and there. So we've got Connive, Casualty, Blitz, Alliance, Shield counters, and then Hideaway. Okay.
Yeah.
Alliance is easily the least impressive of those.
But also more straightforward.
It is totally simple, and like I'm surprised they haven't done it before, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, they have, but I mean, I'm surprised they haven't done it before as a mechanic, you know, with an ability name attached to it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Shield counters are also very straight up easy to understand.
Yeah. And they've done stuff like that before, sort of, kind of. Like, you remember the Phantoms?
Mm-hmm.
From one of the sets in Odyssey Block. Was it Judgment? No.
Yeah. It was Judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Judgment.
Yeah, like the Phantom Nantuko was the big bad who you could add more counters onto. But the Phantom creatures all said they came into the battlefield with, I think they all had 0 toughness, but they entered the battlefield with some number of +1/+1 counters. And whenever they were dealt damage, you would prevent that damage and remove a counter instead.
Yeah.
Which that's just that's an obvious starting point to what shield counters are now, except they're not +1/+1 counters because that's probably a bit much. Especially for Disciplined Duelist. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Let's not give this guy a +1/+1 counter. At least not when it first enters the battlefield.
Yeah, no. Of course, if it was like the Phantoms, he'd be a 1/0. Wait, no, because then he'd just die when the counter's removed, so that's stupid. Okay, anyway, enough of that. So, should we go to the card image gallery and poke around? We've got charms. People love charms.
What about the lands?
What about the lands?
Well, they're all basically the same. So.
Oh, okay.
So the lands, there's one for each family, and they are all tri-lands.
Oh, he meant to start with. I was just like, what about the lands, Brian? What?
Yeah, to start with. Because it will take no time at all.
Unless we let you do it.
Yeah. Hi-oh! So, hey, look. Each one is 3 basic land types, and they make those colors, and they all have cycling. We've seen something like this before. So.
Yeah, from Ikoria.
There we go. Okay, analysis over. They're neat.
Yeah, these are really cool. Like the 3 land types is a trip, and the cycling is always good, you know.
Yeah.
Notice cycling wasn't in the mechanics article because you know cycling by now.
And if you don't,
deciduous or evergreen. Yeah. Each one is named after the leader of that family.
Yes.
So
Jetmir's Garden, Raffine's Tower, Spara's Headquarters, Xander's Lounge, which I think is what's the background for the video screen here. Yeah, look at that.
It is.
and then Z- how the hell do you say that?
Zeotora.
Zeotora. That's all. Yeah, that's what
Okay,
I'd say too.
that's what I was thinking, but that doesn't seem right. Zeotora's proving ground.
Zyatera.
Zyatera. That is
There might be a
one of
cream for that.
yeah. Zyatera is one of those medicines that they have commercials for, where you have to consult your doctor if something, you know, lasts
Yeah,
Side
too long.
effects might be worse than what you have.
But yeah, these are neat. Nothing else to say really. They're rare, which okay. Why are they rare?
help sell the
Well,
sell the
because
set.
Oh yeah.
They're multicolored lands with 3 different basic land types printed on them.
I mean that is true. Anything that searches for a plains gets 3 of these. So
Yeah, right. I can see the 3 basic types pushing it up to rare. Yeah, right. I'll give you that. So, how about the charms?
how about the charms?
So let's see. Brian, you were all about the brokers, right?
I am all about that brokers.
All right, you should
So
read the broker's charm.
The broker's charm for are we going to call it a broker now, or are we still going to call it a band? For a green, a white, and a blue. It's uncommon. All the charms, I think, are uncommon instants. Choose one. First one. Target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. So a one-sided fight that can hit planeswalkers. Little power boost. Seems pretty good. Second option, destroy target enchantment. Third option, draw 2 cards. This is very much an ideal. What was it? What?
I said Jesus.
Yeah, this is honestly a very ideal chant because I love to. First of all, on charms, I love to see something like a disenchant effect because it's the sort of thing where you don't always want to main deck it, whether you're talking about constructed or limited. You know, sometimes you really want to have that disenchant just in case, and it sits in your deck or in your hand because you never need it. But all 3 of these honestly are great. It's almost hard to imagine though ever not getting the 2 card draw, but these other 2 make compelling arguments. So
Yeah, like
yeah,
a thing that I've noticed on like good charms is there's always a default option, and then the other 2 are there in case you need them.
just in case.
And
Yeah,
like the broker's
I got-
charm, the default is obviously draw 2 cards, and
Yeah.
then you've got oh well I need to kill a thing, or oh I need to blow up an enchantment.
right. Yeah, I mean, seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, who wants to do the cabaret? Cabaret. Why is that hard to say for my brain?
Cabaretti.
I imagine most things are hard for your brain to say. If your brain starts speaking without using your mouth, that's the beginning of a lot of horror movies, actually. So,
Isn't that what you
Okay.
just call thoughts?
Ask
You
your
wanna get
doctor
all
if Zeotora is right for you.
dang it, Mike.
Oh,
Why don't you tell us about it then?
oh
Jeez.
All right.
God.
So the Cabaret
Uh.
charm is the Naya colored charm for a red, a green, and a white. Uncommon instant, blah, blah, blah. So you choose between Cabaret's charm deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Or creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn.
Ooh.
That's a rude surprise for an instant. Or create 2 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens.
And there's your default.
Convenient that they put it at the bottom of both of these.
Yeah. Make 2
Yeah.
dudes. If you already have dudes, then make them bigger and trample and swing in. And if you have dudes already and there's a thing in the way, kill the thing. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
I really like the art
don't
on this
disagree with any of these.
Yeah. None of these are bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
When I say default, I mean one
You
that
mean
you
the
can.
effect that always does something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one that
the
always is an option. Like none of
Yeah.
the like two of these are what's the word, conditional, but the third one you can always do. You know, as soon as you have the mana.
I feel like, and this is just my experience, I feel like that first option is, sorry, getting hiccups, is the most conditional. Because you have to
Yeah.
have enough creatures and there has to be something you want to kill in the way. The issue I always have with this type of mechanic is if I've got a couple creatures, then it's usually not enough to kill the one big guy. Or if I have a lot of creatures, sometimes all I want to kill is like the 1/1 and it almost feels like overkill. So, but yeah, always with that last one, you can always just get dudes. I played Raise the Alarm like a lot when it was printed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll play
That card
this.
was ridiculous though. So. All right, what's next? The Maestro's Charm. I guess why not? I'll take that one for a blue, a black, and a red. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. Put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Okay. Or each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Nice. Or Maestro's Charm deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Ooh, I like that this one has 2 default options.
Yeah.
2 that just always work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, I guess that first one always works.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The first one and the second one are the 2 that are just always good to go.
Oh, yeah, I got you. Because you're always going to have an opponent. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was
Whereas
like,
the third one is probably pound for pound. Well, I mean, they're all conditional, but 5 damage is a lot. You just have to have a target. So.
Yeah, but you're always going to have a library and you're always going to have an opponent. So.
Yeah.
The first 2 are always on. So it just depends on what you need right now. So probably the top one is the one that you're going to do more often.
I mean, look at the top 5 cards of your library. Pick one. Even if you're saying the rest of the graveyard, which, just ask Mike, is not necessarily a downside, you're still... That's a lot of... That's top 5 is a lot of cards. So that's a decent card selection.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Next.
All right.
Well, the next one... Okay. Yeah. The next one would be Obscura Charm. So, red, blue, black. Or not red, blue, but white, blue, black. It's just too much to say that. So, uncommon instance, choose one. Return target multicolored permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Counter target instant or sorcery spell. Or destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less.
Huh. This one doesn't have an always on option.
No, this one, every single one is situational.
Especially the first one.
Strong.
Jesus.
Yeah, that first one, at first I was like, oh, you're always going to have something. I'm thinking like Terramorphic Expanse, but no, multicolored. So, I mean, each of these is powerful in their own right, but they're all conditional. This one by far is the most control-y of all of them.
Given that it's in, what we formerly known as Esper colors, makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's...
Chances are... Sorry, go ahead.
I would say it's either a... I can't remember the counter spell that's just instants and sorceries. Like the default name for that. What?
I think I was thinking the wrong thing. I was saying annul. Yeah.
But I will. It's the instant or sorcery counter the kill something small or get something small or zombify something small. Something very
Yeah.
specific and small.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think if you have a target for the first one, then what you do is you pass, and at the end of their turn, if you haven't had to use the second one or the third one, then you get something back. But very situational. It really is the question of what matters the most.
Yeah. All right. Last one.
Riveteers.
Ugh.
So for a black, a red, and a green, choose one. First option, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker they control with the highest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. This was printed not too long ago as a rare for 2 and a black. So that's interesting that it's here as a mode on this.
Well,
Continuing
the
along,
colors help with the rarity.
they do. They do. Second mode, or second choice, exile the top 3 cards of your library until your next end step. You may play those cards. I love that phrasing because it's a lot more forgiving than the straight up red, this turn. Until the end of your next turn. They've been using that more often. I think that's a good thing. And then finally...
Wait.
It doesn't quite say
No.
what you thought it did.
No, it is till end of this turn.
Oh, until your next... Oh, it is more limiting.
Now, it's an
okay.
instance, so you can do it during your opponent's turn and until your next end step.
Yeah.
But it's still your next end step.
No, good call. Good call. This is why it helps to read the cards. And then the final mode is exile target player's graveyard. So once again, the middle mode here is always on. You can always just be like, I'll turn over the top 3, play as many of them as I can. So first one is straight up removal. And then the last one is the Tormold's Crypt for
Which
just shutting down
I think has been on all of the Jund charms.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. If not all, then damn near all. It might not be Jund charms. Somebody, it might have been Kibler. Somebody tweeted out a picture of like multiple. I think they were all Jund charms, and they all had exile target player's graveyard.
Yeah, Jund, that's the first choice on Jund charm.
Yep.
And then who would the Rith's charm? Nope, that's the wrong dragon.
I'll say Rith is Naya, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. What am I looking for? Daragaz.
There we go. Wait, is that right? I thought Daragaz had blue in it.
No. Daragaz is Jund colors. No, Daragaz's charm doesn't have that as a mode.
So maybe they weren't all Jund charms, but there were several charms that all had exile target player's graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
And like each of them had it worded slightly differently to go with the design style of the time. I don't remember if it was Kibler or not, and even if it was, it would take too long because he tweets a lot. Like a lot. Oh well. Should we do the leader? Well, the 3 leaders we have here.
We should do the leaders. They previewed other leaders.
Yeah, all 5 of them have been shown now.
But we can start with these because they're easily accessible.
Yeah.
They're all demons. Who wants the cat demon?
That's a cat. That does say cat demon.
Yeah.
Isn't that redundant? Huh.
We have to be specific.
All the demons. Apparently, in the lore, New Capenna was actually founded by angels.
That's
and
awkward.
Somewhere along the line,
things took a turn.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Well, I'm going to read Lord Xander because he's Grixis colored and I'm evil. and
Okay.
because no one else is talking. So Lord Xander the Collector for 4 and a Grixis. So 4 and a blue and a black and a red. He's a tiny font, legendary creature, vampire, demon, noble. You know, because it was important to get noble in there. He's a 6/6, and these are all mythic. When Lord Xander the Collector enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded down. Damn. When Lord Xander attacks, defending player mills half their library, rounded down. Damn.
Mm.
And when Lord Xander dies, target opponent sacrifices half the non-land permanents they control. You guessed it, rounded down. Damn!
Holy moly.
Yep. That's why he's so noble.
I had
Get
not...
this man in a sneak attack deck stat.
Hurry up. I had not read this card. I just took it because, like I said, it's the Grixis color, and so I'm going to read this.
He's the most expensive one. A lot of the others are actually like budget priced. He's not.
Like, that's nasty.
Yeah.
No wonder he cost 7. Jesus.
I think they've made out the maestros to be one of the focuses of the story. So him being the lead of that. Apparently Elspeth is back. And she goes to the maestros and kind of works her way into the family. So I think that, you know, there's a spotlight on this, so his effects are pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Mike, you're a bastard. Put this in a sneak attack deck. You go to hell.
Well, I'll take the one next to it.
Okay.
So, Jitmer, Nexus of Revels. For 1 red, green, white. It's a 5/4 cat demon. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wait, gets more.
Oh, wait, there's more. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have trample as long as you control 6 or more creatures.
Ooh.
Oh, but wait. There's more. Creatures you control also get +1/+0 and have double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures.
Buh.
Which
So-
point you need to just hurry up and win the game because you have 9 creatures.
Yeah, we play into each one of the colors, so it has vigilance, it has trample, it has double strike.
Yep.
Wow.
So if you have that, then it's a plus. Then all your creatures are +3/+0. Don't tap to attack, and when they hit, they deal double that damage, and it rolls over.
Wow. If you've got ways to make like a bunch of creatures at instant speed, you could just, oops, I win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
There's the alarm and
I've got
Yeah,
5
this is
creatures,
one-
swing, and people are like, okay, I'll block this and that, and you're like, 2 of these charms to get 4 more creatures. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
that's it.
actually was looking at this like, let me go back to the charm real quick.
Buh.
Play
Could you
2
just
charms.
imagine if you had 15 creatures?
And 2 of the colors in that are ones that can quite easily produce lots of little minions real quick.
I mean, all 3 of them really. Like white specializes in effects that
Like
can
white weenies.
White wing. Yep, you said it. Red and like goblin tokens or you know kobold tokens or all sorts of little tokens, and then green is just like we hear you like tokens. So
Do you want squirrels? Do you want saps? What do you want?
I heard you like tokens, so have some tokens with your tokens while you doubling season tokens. But yeah, that's the cat demon.
That would be sick if doubling season was in this
I was gonna
set.
say he looks really
Oh my
dapper, but
God.
everybody here looks dapper. It's like the whole vibe.
Mm,
Also, Stark pointed out that this guy doesn't actually have to do anything. So if you've already got like a whole mess of creatures, it's 4 mana, win the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a, when he attacks or whatever.
Yeah.
Buh. Okay, that's gross. How about Rafine?
Mike
The,
likes
the
sphinxes.
Scheming Shear.
Sure. Rafine, the scheming seer, is in the Obscura gang. So a white, a blue, and a black. Legendary Sphinx demon.
Buh. That also
one-
seems redundant.
Yeah.
mm.
A 1/4 with flying and ward 1. So if someone else wants to target this with something, they got to pay 1 or it gets countered. And it has, whenever you attack, target attacking creature connives X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So
Oh my God.
So you draw X cards, discard X cards, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on that creature that did the conniving for each non-land card that you discarded this way.
So that's really cool that it works that way.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than, draw a card, discard a card X times. It's draw X cards and discard X cards. Which is different.
That's true. That's a good point. Very good point.
Huh. Wow. For 3 mana even. Wow.
And Ward 1, I mean, even though they have bigger ward numbers, this for 3 mana, this it just slows them down just enough that you can start getting the effects of this, and then your creatures start to get much bigger. I mean, this guy attacking by itself is just like draw a card, discard a card, get bigger, maybe. To say nothing of when you're attacking with like 2 other creatures. So yeah.
Yeah, I like this card because, it works no matter how many things you're working with. Like, if you attack with a creature, then it connives. Nice.
What's fun is that if Rafine is killed, then the Obscura charm will bring him back.
Oh my God. Oh, that's gross.
I wanted to point out that whenever we read the Obscura charm, I was like, nah, I'm sure we'll get to it.
Oh, that's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes me like this card even more, which is weird. All right.
So there's only one other card here in the card image gallery. Do we want to cover it and then go
Yeah,
to
why
the
not?
other? Okay.
Because now this is another cycle. I think we're getting a full cycle of Ascendancies, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
gotta
can't
be.
imagine, like, this would be weird if they didn't. So we had the Ascendancies. Where did we have them last? I remember Jeskai Ascendancy. Where's Jeskai from? Is that from Tarkir?
Gosh, why did I say that? Yes, Khans of Tarkir, not Shards of War.
Sons of Tarkir, yeah. So
Yeah,
each
Shards
one is
of Valara here.
That one.
each Ascendancy is an enchantment. I think they have all cost. They don't cost generic mana. They just cost one of each of the guilds, shard, crime family colors. So here, the Broker's Ascendancy is a green, a white, and a blue. A bant, as you will. Rare enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control and a loyalty counter on each planeswalker you control.
Huh.
That's pretty ridiculous. And I'm just
Yeah,
going to throw out there that this is not a legendary enchantment.
Wait, didn't the other Ascendancies have, stuff going on? It wasn't just like, here, this is good, shut up. I seem to remember they had like
Some of them more than others.
I mean, like
Some of them
the
were
whole
this is good shut up. Some of them were here's a nifty thing that might work.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, they all did different stuff. Like the Jeskai Ascendancy, you know, I took that deck to extended tournaments, modern, you
Modern.
know, because the Ascendancy, the Jeskai Ascendancy does stupid stuff, especially with super cheap spells. So they all work differently. Here, it's just, oh, make all your guys bigger and your planeswalkers bigger every turn. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship, and more importantly, a profitable one. Now sign here.
also
Don't bother reading it.
you'll note that there's a rocks in the background because there are
Yeah.
rocks in this plane.
Yep.
And also a cat that is in a suit.
With a fedora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know he's a douchebag. No, wait, this is supposed to be like a 1920s style Chicago. So he's just a cat guy. Because back then,
He's
you know,
the scout on the ground,
everyone wore a hat.
keeping an eye on all the other families.
Damn you, John F. Kennedy! You killed the hat for men. Now only douchebags wear fedoras. Milady. Anyway. All right, so I've got a Polygon article here that has all the cards that were previewed today. Now I know it is almost 10 o'clock, so we're probably
I'm
gonna
okay to keep.
we're probably gonna stop
Go ahead.
soon. So here's the link for you guys.
Okay.
Get this shrunk back
Copy.
down. Never mind. Oh, I gotta change my. There we go. All right, so there's Xander, there's Rafine. Okay, here's Ziatora. Ziatora?
Zeator. Yeah. Ziatora.
Ziatora.
Now available from your pharmacist.
Okay, so God, what's the proper way that we determined to say this? Ziatora.
Ziatora sounds probably.
I
right.
said too many, and my brain could not tell them apart anymore.
Dewey, have you read this yet?
I have
'Cause
not.
This is utterly ridiculous. You should read this.
Okay, so Ziatora the Incinerator. That's a fun name. For 3, a black, a red, and a green. Do what?
Burn and Nate tree side.
Oh, look at it. We got a big beefy arm coming out of the back of the card there. Oh, it's a legendary demon dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know this is going to be good because demon dragons are always perfectly fine cards. All right, it's a 6/6 with flying. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. That makes sense. When you do, Ziatora the Incinerator deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. Jesus.
Utterly ridiculous.
That's,
And you know,
that's really good.
And you know you can stack this with Blitz. So if you're put the Blitz sacrifice on the stack, and then
this, yeah.
stack them to, and you still draw the card.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, this one's vaguely ridiculous.
That makes me a happy Chewy.
I'm glad it's 6. So that when it comes down, the getting 3 treasure tokens is completely game ruining.
Not, but that's still 3 treasure tokens a turn. And any turn you're choosing to sacrifice, it is a May ability, so that you're gonna do all the time. But
I just think it would be funny that if you paid us like 1 or 2 mana for a goblin, you eat the goblin, and you get more treasure counters than it costs to actually play the card.
Oh yeah. And I mean, you can start this rolling on turn 5 or turn 6 whenever you play this creature. Just play her, do attacking or whatever, and then oh look, time to burninate the countryside and get some treasures.
Yeah, that's neat. I don't think it's quite as ridiculous as, at least in my mind, as Brian is making it sound, but it's really good.
It's not busted. It's just
It is not busted.
no, but
It's pretty good. It's pretty solid.
it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, pairing
If
it
you
with
keep
Blitz
sacrificing-
is especially tasty, though. That is kind of gross.
Yeah. So
It's
now
alright.
we come to the last of the family leaders, and the one that has the most, I think, mafia name. Listen to this, Falco Sparta. That just sounds like
Spara.
something out. What's that?
There's
Spara.
no T.
Spara. So Falco Spara, even better. Sounds like something out of a 1930s 1940s crime serial.
Like, it does sound
So-
like someone that Don Corleone wanted to have killed.
Yeah.
So Falco Spara.
Falco Sparta taken care of.
Falco Sparta sleeps with the fishes tonight. Falco Spara,
Make
being
that
a bird, is
back
like,
wheel
that sounds tasty.
pay.
Falco Spara is like, Falco Spara says all debts are cleared.
Mob
So-
Nixilis. How have we not said that yet?
That came up on the stream. So Falco Spara, not Sparta. That's something different. Pact Weaver.
That would be
For
madness.
One,
I'm sorry.
for one, a green, a white, and a blue. So fairly efficiently costed for a 3/3 legendary bird demon. Has flying and trample. Falco Spara enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it.
Figure.
You may look at the top card of your library at any time. It just says any time. So you may look at it anytime.
Yeah.
Sounds a little more casual that way. You may cast spells from the top of your library by removing a counter from a creature you control, in addition to paying their other costs.
Oh, it keeps it from being future sight silly.
Yeah, but this had my Johnny-tastic senses just like firing on all cylinders, because there are all sorts of ways, like from Shadowmoor, that maybe you play something that enters the battlefield with 4 -1/-1 counters on it, and you're like, how am I going to remove these? And this bird is like, hey, you scratch my back, I'll scratch you the top of the library here. It'll be great. My point is that because it doesn't specify what type of counter, go
Could be
nuts.
anything. Yeah.
It's too bad Dark Depths is not a creature, or you could just start removing ice counters. Quick, animate your Dark Depths. Just take 20 cards to get there, but you'll do it. Or is it 10?
10.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
It is good that it says counters from a creature, because, yeah, poison counters. I mean, we could sit here and talk about all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, you can't. Well, creatures don't usually get poison counters, but
Well, no, he's
Well-
talking about you can't remove poison counters from yourself to.
okay. We
Yeah,
said
it's a
the
good
same
thing
thing.
that it
Just
says creatures.
Yeah.
oh god, I'm falling into Dirk's pattern of like repeating. So, but yeah, he's really neat. I like it. I'm not trying to be all like, oh look, this is the best section, this is the best wedge, but for me, I'm just like, yeah. I mean, everything has had something interesting, but I keep coming back to them. Mike, did you see the Halo fountain yet?
I haven't yet.
You need to read the Halo fountain.
All right, let's read the Halo Fountain. So it's a mythic artifact that costs 2 and a white. Oh boy. It's going to be really dumb and really exciting. So pay a white and untap a tapped creature you control. That's all part of the cost. Create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token.
Nice.
White, white, tap, untap 2 target creatures you control.
Two what?
Sorry,
Two
not
tapped.
target.
Two tapped.
Tapped.
Yeah.
Sorry. Draw a card. Okay.
Seems good.
All right. So 5 white mana symbols. This is the last ability. Tap, untap 15 tapped creatures you control. You win the game.
What the hell?
Remember earlier when I said, "Oh, if only you had 15 creatures."
I was trying to figure out why in God's name you said that. I was like, all right, Brian.
But I'm a smarmy son of a gun.
I was like, it's not
And-
9 plus 6 plus 3. It's just 9. But
No,
I just
I
sort of
was-
let that go. I was like, whatever. I see what
I-
you were saying now.
And really, if you get to 15 tapped creatures, you should really be winning the game. Like, even without this thing. But, maybe it's the world's worst stall, or you're just playing an average, multiplayer game. Because it doesn't say target opponent loses the game. So, I find it fascinating that the cost of this is to untap a tapped creature you control. Because we've seen that sort of thing before. I mean, in Shadowmoor, that was a whole thing, or Eventide, that was a whole big thing. Remember, they even made the untap symbol for that as a cost.
Did you see the last place that the untap symbol appeared?
I don't know.
It was on the Ryu Street Fighter card. Because the untap symbol looks like the Hadouken motion. So they gave him the untap symbol to for his ability.
That's neat.
Just thought I'd throw that out there since we're talking about the untap symbol real quick.
Yeah.
But I like the way that it, like, you could have 15 creatures, and the problem is you have to tap them. But because this doesn't say sorcery speed, you're like, combat, attack with all these guys. Oh, untap them all, I win.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And in fact, like, you could do this at instant speed where they're like, all right, blow up your guy. And you're like, in response, I will untap them. That's all part of the cost. And they can be like, well, in response, I blow up the fountain. And you're like, great, the ability's still on the stack. So you really, if you get to this point, which, by the way, again, 15 creatures, no joke, that's not happening all the time. But if you get to this point where you can activate this, and they haven't, like, blown up your 15th creature before you enter combat, they don't have a way of stopping this.
unless they've got something with split second.
Yeah. But again, if they see it coming, if
Maybe.
they have a way to blow something up, they should just do it, before you attack.
Yeah.
So,
It's a very strange
Yeah.
card.
very strange, but it's neat. It's neat.
Yeah, Stark said people are going to fall all over themselves desperately trying to win the game with this card. Meanwhile, Stark's going to be over here in Mono White Commander just hammering that second ability, desperately trying to draw cards.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
And yes, correct.
I mean, outside of combat, if you've got any sort of effect that allows you to tap creatures to do other things, mana dorks, for example, like Llanowar elves, great. Tap them, get some mana, then...
Oh my god, Dirk.
Yep.
Cryptic Gateway.
Wow.
I'll tap these two to put something out, and then I'll untap them and draw a card. And then I'll tap them again to put something out.
Oh, wow.
I knew that only Dirk would appreciate that quite as hard as me, because I think we're the only ones that ever played Cryptic Gateway hard. But
You're building the deck for him. Yeah. Dirk with his elves and Chewie with his beasts.
yup.
Yeah, and Cryptic
All-
Gateway, yeah, that's just the activation cost of Cryptic Gateway is just a free way to tap creatures. Now, they have to be in groups of 2.
Yeah.
But-
Well, and now if you have any enchantment that says when a creature enters the battlefield, create a token, like, which there's some of those in elves. You're talking green white here, but hey, and I'm sure there's something to do with that stupid symbiotic elf thing from Fifth Dawn that you can bounce a creature to, like, untap something. And this is just going to go off, isn't it?
So Wirewood symbiote you're talking about?
Yeah. Oh, but you can only tap this once.
Yeah, you have to find a way to untap an artifact in your loop there.
Yeah. But still, seems pretty ridiculous. I can think of worse things to do at the end of the next person's turn than to just be like, play a guy for free, draw a card. Wahahaha. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's
Do we
fun.
need,
I don't
do we
I
need
don't
to
know how feasible that final ability is, but as we've already decided, this second ability is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Do we want to stop here? Do we want to go any further? There's two other
Um,
big. Well, in fact, in this article, there's only two more
I was gonna
things.
say, yeah, there's only two things left here really that we should probably do
Let's
because
look
they are
them out
both
real
pretty
quick.
massive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we're good to keep up for two more cards, can we make it?
Yeah.
I can make it.
All right. So who wants to read our resident praetor?
I'll do it.
Okay.
So Urobrask, Heretic Praetor. For 3 and 2 red, is a 4/4 legendary Praetor, Phyrexian Praetor. That's mythic. He's got
Oh,
haste.
I forgot that they added Phyrexian as a creature type at some point recently.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
You got haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn.
Seems good.
Exile it. Yeah, right now sounds good. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would play a card this turn,
They
Wait.
would. Stop.
they would draw a card. My bad. Next time they would draw a card this turn. Instead, they exile the top card of their library. They may play it this turn.
So the Praetors
There are
always have
places that
that more for me, less for you thing. And someone in the Discord pointed out this is a big 1.5 for me, only a half for you. Because you're not denying them a draw, but you're forcing them to use whatever they draw this turn. Whereas you get your
Yes.
regular draw and a card that you
Bonus.
have to use this turn.
Well, and the card is visible. So when they exile it, it's not
Oh,
exiled
that is
face
true.
down.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The original version of this guy gave all your stuff haste, and your opponent's stuff entered the battlefield tapped. So it was again that mirror image sort of thing. So here he still has haste. It's interesting. He's always been portrayed as the one praetor he embodies individualism, which is super weird for Phyrexia because their whole thing is, one of us, one of us. So I'm not really. We've seen. He's now the third praetor that we've seen. We saw the green guy on the Viking place, which the green guy on the Viking place, but and then just in Kamigawa we saw Jingataxius. So feels like we're counting down, and the story seems to be more and more coming back to the Phyrexians. In fact, from a story perspective, the whole reason that there's even a conflict on this plane is that apparently this plane repelled a Phyrexian invasion ages ago, and everybody wants to know how. And it all comes back to Halo and Master Chief and all that good stuff. So that's kind
The
of why
Phyrexians
everybody's
are the
here.
flood. I knew it.
Yeah. They're gross and explode when you hit them into green goo. Apparently, also, New Capenna was Elspeth's home plane, which was.
Okay, I was about to ask because I know that was part of her backstory that her home
Yeah.
plane was being invaded by the Phyrexians.
Her home plane was a plane that was ruled by angels and was taken over by Phyrexians, and planes walked away while being tortured by Phyrexians. And planes walked to Theros, where authority figures there will literally smite you, and came back later and was actually smoten. The last time we saw her, she finally made her way out of the underworld there and is now back. And now she's resplendent.
Is it bad that I forgot that Elspeth was
She
alive
was
again?
dead. They hadn't done anything with her yet, so
Like she showed up in whatever set that was, and I was like, oh. And then, like you said, I don't think we've seen her since, right?
we haven't. We
No,
haven't.
yeah, as a side effect of
Yeah.
this, that the story continues to jump around
Yeah.
from setting
It's
to setting instead of expanding on something.
yeah. As an interesting note, I know we need to read this last card, but I kind of feel like what they were doing with the Gatewatch, where they were kind of bringing these disparate planeswalkers in different settings and all that. I
Mm.
don't think we've seen the same set of planeswalkers deal with the same Phyrexian yet, because on the Viking place, um,
All
which
right,
is
what is the
named
name of that plane? Damn it, I can't remember either.
I could have
Stormheim?
told you 15 seconds ago.
Kaldheim.
Yeah.
Kaldheim.
Kaldheim. Thank you, Dirk. Dirk for the win. Um, you had Kaya, I think, was there hunting stuff down and encountered Jingataxi, not Jingataxis, but
Lauren.
Vor Vorinclex, the green one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I'm trying to remember what other planeswalkers were even there. There was the blue white one, the athlete from Theros, who we haven't really seen since. They made the shard tokens, remember?
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah. So and Tybalt. So that was going on
Niblet.
over there.
Oh boy.
Uh, in Neo Kamigawa, we have the Wanderer and the blue black ninja guy who's also new, and sadly Tamio. So no real intersection there. And now here we have Obnixilis and Elspeth. So we have all these planeswalkers kind of encountering the Phyrexians in different places, and I think it's kind of heading toward, like, once again, it's heading toward ahead somewhere. So here we have Elspeth. Elspeth Resplendent for 3 and 2 white. Legendary Planeswalker Elspeth comes in with 5 loyalty. So 5 mana, 5 loyalty. First ability is a +1 loyalty. Choose up to one target creature, put a +1/+1 counter and a counter from among flying, first strike, lifelink, or vigilance on it. Oh,
Huh.
yeah, bringing back the ability counters. So, which I thought they were going to do more of when they brought them in, and they've kind of. But hey, side
Yeah,
note
they've
for
been kind of
the
sparse, but having too many different types of counters laying around can get confusing. So
you do. I feel like, especially for the pre. Well, okay, almost no one is going to get Elspeth at the pre-release, but you kind of need to be able to say what each counter represents. So, but side note, real quick, for the broker leader who lets you remove counters, yeah, maybe that one creature doesn't need 2 flying counters. Second ability, -3 loyalty. Again, comes in with 5, so she can use this right away. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield with a shield counter on it.
Ooh.
Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Dude,
Seems,
seven's a lot.
yeah, 7 is a lot. For the last ability, or no, oh, for the top 7 cards. Sorry, I saw 7 and 7, and I was like, huh? Yeah, I honestly, I don't think that even really sunk in either. The top 7, I just read it. I may have inserted a lower number like 5 in my head because we saw 5 earlier. I'm like, oh, 5's pretty good card selection. 7 is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Does not feed the graveyard with the remaining though. Sorry, Mike. And then finally, limit break, -7 loyalty. Create 5 3/3 white angel creature tokens with flying.
That is not a small number either.
Oh, that is 15 points of power and toughness. Lately, we've seen a whole lot of 4/4 angels, but those generally come with vigilance. These don't. And I'm sure they were. You can't tell me they didn't play around with these numbers a whole lot. Within the next couple of weeks, Rosewater usually puts out an article, or somebody puts out an article that shows like some of the logs they put out about a card design and like testing, and to show people, hey, this is what this did for a while and ended up somewhere completely different. I'm sure they tried this at different numbers. But 5 3/3s with flying is pretty ridiculous. I mean, not to be the like, yeah, it needs to even be even better guy, but then if you have any sort of anthem effect or whatever, because these are slightly smaller angels, but there's more of them, it can get kind of ridiculous. And hey, you only need to do this limit break 3 times before you can win with the fountain.
I was
So,
thinking you only need to do the limit break once and then play freaking Jetmir, and you've already got they've all got +2/+0 and vigilance and trample.
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Because that's where my brain went.
yeah. So that's pretty much everything I think that has been previewed. We'll have more previews for you next week. But what do we think of the set so far?
Trip.
What?
It's
Did he
trippy.
just cut
Oh.
out? Oh, okay.
It's
It's
like
trippy.
it's trippy.
I
It's,
did
I
not-
mean, there's some stuff in there that's just wow.
Dirk, is there anything in the set that you feel like is really you? Like
Well,
that just really
there is
get
the basic stuff like Alliance, which is like, all right, this is Dirk approved, just because it doesn't break my brain.
so you like it because you understand it and because it plays a way that you tend to play.
Yes,
Hmm.
Man.
it has simple stuff for a simple mind like mine, but also has stuff where it's like, you know what? I feel like I can take a challenge today.
I didn't realize that Jetmir had 2 different colored eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really obvious that when you scroll up to the top of that Polygon article. He's got 1 red eye and 1 blue eye.
He is a demon cat, so
Like me on nights when I sleep in a certain position. I mean nothing.
I just saw the name of the article. I'm telling you, lawyer jokes can't go for 2 feet without bumping into them.
What? Magic the Gathering Streets of New Capenna is run by demons, vampires, and lawyers. That sounds redundant, I know. Ha! I missed the bit in italics below that.
I just saw it.
Lord. Well, then, how about some final thoughts for this, I don't know, very mobby episode?
Well, I gave my final thought that this is a trippy set. I'm curious to see what happens next, but I can already, for me, I can see that there's some stuff in here that's just wow in terms of the power and what it can do and just how synergetic it works. So, like I said, I'm curious to see what happens as more stuff gets revealed. And with that, that will be my final thought for the night. I'm heading to bed. So you guys have a wonderful night.
Night, Zerk.
You too.
Have fun next
Night.
week.
Yeah. Later, guys.
Bye-bye. Yeah, by the end, I was talking a lot, and the last couple previews probably pushed it a bit for him because it's late for us old people. But for my final thought, as far as this is concerned, yeah, I honestly, I still like Magic. I feel kind of like Chewy. I just haven't played it in a while. I've played Arena, and that it's fine. It is Magic. It's don't let anybody tell you it's not Magic. It is. It's not the same. And so I didn't really go into this with any kind of expectation. I did not even do the pre-release at home with Sam for Kamigawa. Looked neat, and I asked her about it, and she's like, if we have time. And I'm like, I kind of feel the same way. So didn't really have a whole lot of expectation to it. Never been like, oh, look, super into The Godfather or Goodfellas or anything like that. Although I do like Goodfellas. But, I've never been like, oh, yeah, mob sort of stuff. Um, but the set has some really interesting mechanics going on. And anytime you have a Ravnica or Alara or anything where there is the multicolor function, multicolor focus, and where you have these mechanics where they're assigned to these different combinations, there's always the possibility for one or two of them just kind of like clicking with me. There's always almost certainly the one that I'm like, it's cool, but it's not really for me. Like, I really appreciate Blitz. I appreciate Blitz a lot. I think it's super interesting. And it's just not generally my play style. Possibly limited if it's just really good, which it looks like it may be. But man, some of the stuff with the brokers, and I'm just like, yeah, digging it. And bird demon nobles, yeah. So I'm honestly more curious than I've been to see what comes next, to see what other stuff in this set. That's what I got.
Nice. Mike?
Yeah, I really like the style. I do want to catch up with the story. I I missed I missed the story for Neon Dynasty while it was still running. I want to go catch up on that, even though I even though I know part of the disappointing ending. I'll just have to deal with it. And I am very interested in catching up on this, especially since Urabrask shows up, because Urabrask is my main man. I like Urabrask.
It's true, he does.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really creative setting, really cool. Glad they did it. Neat concepts in here, neat mechanics. Maybe, maybe I'll get to see how this one plays. Who knows? I don't even own any cards from any of the expansions that have happened since that return to Theros. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what opportunities come up.
Yeah. I guess that's me then. I got nothing. As far as this goes, like everything that I would say I've already said. So as far as not New Capenna goes, I did my first Monday Night Murder, which is I play Hitman on stream on Mondays. I did my first one.
It's not like you did your first Monday night, went out and found somebody, and
Yeah, no.
But in VR, yeah.
Definitely wasn't my first time for that. What?
Right.
But my lawyer has advised me to stop talking, and yet here I go.
He never listens to me, so.
But yeah, I did the first Monday Night Murder in VR, and it was so much fun because Hitman VR is just janky enough to be silly without being, massively frustrating. It's only kind of frustrating. Like, it seems like that when there's just one dude, I can punch him and he'll fall down unconscious. But if there are more than one dude and I have like a wrench, I hit them each like 6 times and then they finally go down. And I don't know if that's something that I'm doing differently because there's more of them and I'm panicking, or if it's just because the game is janky. I don't know. But it was so much fun because I did it completely in character as, Chewy 47. I wasn't paying attention to chat. I wasn't talking about playing a game. I was in character, doing what I do in each level. And it was just a blast. And those will be going up on YouTube at some point once I get around to editing them because it was so much fun. And yeah. Also, anytime that you walk up behind someone and strangle them, it's hilarious. It's so funny. Because again, it's janky as hell. This is not like a VR game. It's a game that was converted to kind of work in VR. Do what?
You said kinda.
Yeah.
Work in VR.
Kinda. Like to use fiber wire to strangle someone, to death, you have to prime it and then wrap it around their throat and then pull back. But invariably it takes like 5 attempts because it just goes through their neck and you're like, "What? No, get him. No, get him. Get him. Get him." And half the time they turn around first. And they're like, "Are you trying to strangle me?" You're like, "No." What do you No.
What would give you that crazy idea?
Never mind this fiber wire in my hand. You shut your face. You don't see me criticizing what you're doing. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just janky enough to be hilarious and entertaining. And yeah, I had way too much fun with it. All of the Monday Night Murders going forward will not be in VR, but periodically they will be. And yeah. Excuse me. So that was fun. I think my favorite thing to do, other than walking up behind someone and grabbing them by the neck and shaking them, is knocking people out with a fish, which is my favorite thing to do in regular Hitman too. Is the fish is my favorite melee weapon, but in VR it's so much funnier because you can turn the fish to look at you, and it's just looking at you going bloop, bloop. And that makes me a happy Chewy. But anyway. So yeah, look for those on the YouTube channel in the near future. And with that, I got nothing else really. So hey, patreon.com/themanapool is where you can go to get to poke myself in the eye. Oh god, to get early stuff and the odds and ends, and I poked myself in the eye and I can't even anymore. Okay, let me. Wow, I got myself good.
You're not supposed to Monday Night Murder yourself.
I know, especially on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Okay, like I legit am having trouble opening my eye, so I'm gonna have to let that settle. I can read this with one eye, right? I don't need depth perception to read a screen in not VR. So, allow me to thank our mythic lifeguards in, I don't know, this order. Violet Moon, Timu Helisaru, Scuzzo, Pinball Witch, PJ McMullen, Gothic Man, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Beardy Man, Kim Ho, Casey, John Parker, Jason Kaus, Jason Doan, Jake Jansons, Connor Kennedy, Cody Buckowing, Andrew Hunt, ALK Alters, Al, and the Beastfather, Aaron Goodwine. Whew. Thank you all so very much for your support, and, there we go. Both eyes are open now. Now I have one blue and one red eye. See, I predicted this a minute ago.
You can tell us the truth. Are you a cat demon?
No, but that would be pretty cool. Also, I haven't actually added it yet, and I mentioned this in the Discord and on Twitter, but I'm going to add a Patreon goal of some amount or some number of patrons or something that when we hit it, I'm going to start playing through the Dark Souls games. Despite my better judgment. Because I know that's a thing that people love. And people also love to see me tortured for some reason. So, yeah, that'll be a Patreon goal. And yeah, I'll be starting with the first one and going from there. So, When I mentioned this in the Discord, there are several people who are like, "Oh, Elden Ring is really good and accessible. You should play it." I'm like, I didn't mention Elden Ring not once. Dark Souls, the first one, and then 2, and then 3, and then probably Sekiro, and hopefully by then Bloodborne will be playable on PC, because the only one I want to play, like actively want to play like bad, I can't because it's PlayStation exclusive, because screw me, that's why. But I'm not bitter at all. Until Dawn is also a PlayStation exclusive, which is the one of those games that I wanted to play. So I can't. Thanks, game developers. Nah, that was me sticking my tongue out at you. But anyway. That's all I got. Hitman VR and Dark Souls. What a bizarre. No, demonetized. So, this has been the Mana Pool number 645. Let us know what you think of Streets of New Capenna and the mechanics, and are there any cards in particular that we talked about this episode that you desperately love or desperately hate, or did we miss something in particular that you're like, oh my god, you didn't talk about this part? I'm like, oh, because we probably didn't think of it. I'm not going to lie. So let us know in the comments, or in the Discord, or on Twitter, or wherever. And with that, we'll be done. So thank you all so very much for joining us, and crime.